So welcome back. This is Seema Govil and Chef Vikas Khanna. Welcome back to FabLife 360 on Ruckus Avenue Radio. Thank you so much. You are juggling with 100 million things and you managed to find time for me. I don't even know what to say. I'm so thankful.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
So let's just dive in. So 30 million meals in the span of 5 months, 400,000 slippers, 3 million sanitary pads, 2 million masks with zero admin cost. While sitting from New York, all this is happening during the pandemic when the world has come to stand still, and you are doing this all from here. So let's just get into all that. How did you get the inspiration? How did it start? And how is it going?
So we started this on April 1st, but we got very serious on April 11th.
Okay.
So April 11th is when my mom scolded me. Big time. Sometimes my mother doesn't care, which she's right. She has all the rights. But because we were failing for the first 10 days, we totally failed. Because, I'm sitting in New York. It was very difficult for me to communicate and to understand the logistics in the lockdown. How do you actually get the food out to people? But we already started promising people, don't worry, the food is coming, don't worry, the food is coming. And we knew it because the month end was happening, March was ending. So many of these places like orphanages, old age homes, and leprosy centers. Yeah, the children, special needs, unke schools वगैरह में. So Mama ne jab danta, that is when I got very serious in this. My mom said that, for the last more than 30 years, the entire country has trained me for this kind of global success. She's saying, don't tell me I don't care about any of your privileges and your success stories if you can't feed India right now. All your training, all your resources, all your international voice, name, fame has to be utilized because it hurts me. I feel my son is failing every time I see someone dying of hunger. I think she really, and because I was like, I can't do this, because I also have so many other commitments. The beginning of April, we did not know that this pandemic was so massive, that this is going to have the world stand still. तब इतना पता नहीं था. So मैंने कहा, I have so many commitments and contracts every single day, like every few months I have to deliver a full books, and there's a restaurants coming up. There's like so much of documentaries and movies I make. This huge catering business. By that time, we had not figured out that everything is going to come to standstill. Like everything is going to shut down. So जब मम्मा ने बोला ये बात तब लगा कि बिल्कुल ठीक बोला मम्मा ने. And I'm lucky that I have my mom with me, and I share generally good news with her all the time. We've decided not to share all the dark sides of this soft power the dark side of the soft power. That how hard it is for an Indian to make it this big in America. And with being Indian, without pretending that he is actually white, without just being Indian and doing what is such a continuity of Indian heritage.
Yes.
And so us time pe we got very serious. That is when I started putting entire resources, full structure. We started putting everything around the work, what I was doing. And that was when we got very serious about Feed India. And if you look at it, the reason we could do it so successfully was there was such a transparency that, once I started putting my money forward and I started getting these events properly organized, instantly the brands came on board. And I think especially the New York Times article, which was the cover story worldwide, that really hit the sponsors in a way. The corporations came on board. तो उसके साथ क्या हुआ? It eased the whole system. People said, we are ready to contribute 100,000 slippers. We are ready to contribute 500,000 sanitary pads. All we want from you is, of course, the world is such that today you have a social currency. And with the influence, we said, the moment you come on board, we will put a post of you, your company, your values, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And उस time पे मैंने कुछ नहीं सोचा. I said, whatever resources we have right now, we got to utilize them. And slowly, it was such a failure operations. And I think on May 31st, we served 500,000 meals, cooked meals,
Wow.
dry ration in the trains, railway stations, highways, in leprosy centers, in train stations that people are waiting, on the fuel stations, in the quarantine centers, in the outside villages, in the villages.
Wow.
Like, some days were so like amazing. I lost my voice, trying to coordinate this. And all night I was in my room and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. If I can pull this off.
Yeah.
And especially when the visuals were sent to us, every minute we used to get updates. Chef, the delivery went here. The rice here is going. अभी यहाँ पे खिचड़ी जा रही है, यहाँ पे drinks जा रही है, यहाँ पे हमने चप्पल का किया था, यहाँ पे मास्क जाएंगे. So we were taking this massive operation. I think it was almost like running 10 Michelin star restaurants at one time.
Wow.
लग रहा था मेरे को कि जैसे इस level का, and we were failing also. I'm not going to deny that we were failing a lot. Some places we had promised food will be there in the evening, especially I think during Eid, the whole week. I was like, we have to be overly optimistic, otherwise we are going to fail, So we were hosting these massive events. First time we did 200,000 meals at Haji Ali. So we said, I don't want any discrimination. When the food is being laid out, everyone comes, no questions asked, people can take as much as they want. Eid is the festival of togetherness. And that is the time when we started realizing the brands which came on board was really helpful. From India Gate to Paytm to Shunya to PUSHP MASALE, like all these food brands, to Quaker Oats to Pepsi, when they came on board, तब मुझे लगना शुरू हुआ सीमा जी के, oh, this is amazing, because solidarity is the power of this entire operation. That all these people came together, and we were all hurting at one time when we were looking at the images of the pain the country was going through.
So this is what I was going to ask you. Tell me about these partners and these companies who just trusted you, who just came on board, and they donated everything, all of these items for these causes, right?
Majority was donated. Initially, it was totally my cost, but later what happens as the big companies came on board.
Okay.
So when India Gate came on board, okay, we want 100,000 kgs rice here, we want 60,000 kgs rice here, so it was such a massive operation. And there were more rice companies came on board. Dawat came on board. Right now, Crown Basmati rice came on board for the Bombay event. And then we said, okay, let's do the market requirement. The marginalized communities are having tough time, like transgenders, sex workers, people with disabilities. We had issues in ashrams and old age homes and abandoned parents' homes and widow ashrams. And so some of the things which people were writing to us on Twitter and everything. And for the first time, I was totally available to people to answer, because you live, not, use privileged life. You really work hard for it. But it is still a very privileged life living in Manhattan and this kind of privileges, which has been a collective success of the entire country. I can't just say this was my success, because I'm taking recipes from the entire country to project them to the world. I'm not going to White House alone. I'm not going to Buckingham Palace alone or the Vatican alone. Entire country is coming with me. That is when you started feeling, for the first time, that this belonged to each and every person of 1.3 billion people. And that is also great that, every time there was a big milestone, you saw that every city in the world had the news that, this is what he's doing now. So if they were cheering because it was their contribution too. Odisha se leke Karnataka se leke Kashmir se leke. So that was when you started feeling, oh my God, this was my duty. My mother was right. I did it as a duty, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah, your projects are going on. I mean, today you achieved the 30 million meals.
Abhi holi, parso. About to touch the benchmark. Abhi we touch wood. The things that so many logistics, and you're sitting so far, and it becomes sometimes very difficult for you to pull off such big events because of you don't see the uncertainty about these things. Sometimes the lockdown, sometimes the curfew, sometimes there are middlemen involved, and there's a lot of money involved in a way that, people can sell these products and everything.
Right.
You met all sorts of people. You met the greatest, and sometimes you met the people who were actually extremely low.
And then you had a different opinion of them before this dealing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember once I don't tweet anything. I don't like to put out a negative vibe because millions of people take hope from you, and it reciprocity for me that I take it from them. And once only in my entire career, I've done one tweet which was a little dark and painful, in which I said, you took that entire truck of food away. I had promised those people at the old age home. And why did you do that? Why? That was my question to him. Why? What will you gain? How much money can you make from it that you took some this from? And with so much of pain and respect and honor, I'm collecting stuff. Even now, it's not easy. It's really not easy coordinating with farmers, and sometimes the farmers do not have proper billing system set up where we can pay them from America, or we can, they don't have those setups. They don't, so, and sometimes वहाँ पे addresses भी ठीक नहीं मिलते थे. I remember somewhere near Hampi, we were informed that we have a massive crop of millet. So हमने कहा ठीक है मैं pick करता हूँ. We started putting our contacts together, everything, and the person was coordinating with the language differences, everything, time zone differences. We just did not. He gave us a wrong address. It was not his mistake. It was my team's understanding. 24 घंटे हमारे waste हो गए. When we are committed these things, and 24 घंटे trucks और driver घूम रहे हैं, उनको समझ नहीं आ रहा. But those were what my mother told me that day. She said that when you were young, you used to burn your hand and you used to cut yourself all the time, and all your cousins looked at this and said, "ये क्या मजाक है मतलब? Why would a little boy be into this?" And my mother said, only your grandmother kept telling everyone that let him do it. These scars are beautiful. And even now when I see my elbows burned and all those things, and she said, these scars are beautiful. This is when the journey will not become an instant success and disappear. This is the hard earned for him. And we are very fortunate that we have someone in the family who's so passionate towards art. For her, the cooking was art. And I think it's very rare that somebody so dedicated and focused that entire life has been spent into this. I think uski hi wajah se I could have this kind of opportunity and platform, that you're a home name in India, and it just helped you to get foot inside every home.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you next. This is India we are talking about. There must have been challenges, hustles along the way. Did it ever cross your mind when these interruptions came? Oh my God, I can do it, and it's not possible. I'm being too idealistic and too optimistic. So I think what I'm getting is it's your mom, right? She helped you conquer all these thoughts and all these interruptions.
No, she told me, don't complain. She told me, I told her, Mom, we are having this bad time because I lost so much money. There was a bad deal. And she's saying, don't complain. You used to burn your hands, remember? Don't complain to me. Only tell me the figures of people you fed. And that was amazing because, we will be calculating, acha 100 gram ka khana ye hai, imagine the number of meals you're giving. And we were doing like that. And she's saying, mujhe sirf bataya kar kitne mere desh ke logon ko tumne khana khilaya.
So that was
your, so she's the first person, and we will be 30.25 in 2 days. We all crossed 30 million, and she wants to only hear those figures, and which is motivation for me to focus, to be ahead of it. And the reason that so many brands were attracted towards this movement was also because one fact was so clear, that people saw the transparency of the preparations. Like every single day they will get this report. Today we packed 17,000 bags. Now this is the distribution of the bags. And in Banaras, I remember there was a very dark time of my life, and I'd lost my father, and I couldn't deal with myself. And all the NRIs, I feel, most of us feel this, that the parents are getting old back home and we are here, and that pain is way too much, or feeling that you could have done much more for them. And that's never going to leave us. And Papa ke baad I was hiding in Varanasi. So there was a boatsman. He was the one who helped me out of depression, and he's the one, when he started writing Last Color movie, it was right there on the ghat, on his boat I was writing. And because I didn't want to deal with the real thing. Because you also have to see that, you know, success also has a lot of dark sides to it. That there are a lot of vultures which move around you. I call them vultures. Kangna Ranaut's language. She's absolutely right. Only the self-made person knows what vultures are, because they're totally unprotected people. And we've all made mistakes as immigrants in this country, and we trusted people. And it's also that उस time पे मेरे को deal करना मुश्किल था. So this boatsman helped me, and one day suddenly he came in my thoughts and dream. Maybe dream to thini, because I've never slept for 5 months. I didn't have proper sleeping pattern. So he came in my dream, and it was like, you know, he's talking to me about what he told me, that your father is not gone. I don't know why you're crying. Now he's smiling with you, and every time you're crying, he's crying with you. And that was such a simple thought of, he said, this is a basic thing about life in our scriptures, that parents never lose, they never leave us. They become a part of us. They're going to smile with us. They're going to, everything you'll create, they're a part of that. Every time your hand is going to move with this pen, he's writing. So that really was so, उस time पे सोई सुनना होता, you know, उस time आपका brain balance नहीं होता.
I think it was empowering for you.
Absolutely. आपको सिर्फ वो सुनना होता है, for that energy you need to recover and to go back and face the world. Because Papa was the man who managed all my business. And of course, I've also worked with people who work with you, but they are only rooting how to get you fail, how to fail, like, you know, how to find out a way so that you fail. I'm like, I never understand this psyche that, you know, people who work with you, they want you to move ahead. And only parents do that to you. Nobody else in this world. There's no one else in this world. I'm almost 50 years old now. I can tell people they're the only people who are genuine in your success and who are happy, more than happy than you are. The rest of the world, people who are working with you also, they're like, oh my God, how do we destroy this? But it was a slow success which came to me. And Papa ke jaane ka moi kabhi bhi, I've never recovered. And I just tweeted about that boatsman, that I feel that he's waiting for me. Like something about it, if somebody can locate him. And you won't believe it, within like, I tweeted at like 4 o'clock in the night, and I got up at 8:39 in the morning, New York time, and so people had located him. They already went to his house. They got the contact number. And the guy told him, he's saying, today the boatsman went to River Ganges and said, hey, Ma Ganga, koi to tera beta hoga jo hame bhula nahi hoga.
Oh my God, he did that?
I know. You know, so I have this khata on my lamp. I don't know if you can see it. Khata is that silk cloth which from Buddhist monks and His Holiness Dalai Lama gave me. So that's always on my bedside. So that day, you know, I didn't do anything. I generally put it on my lamp because it's very precious to me. So that day I put it on my bedside. I don't know why. And all I could dream about was Ganges and Varanasi and the boatsmen and the families, that how they fed me and took care of me when I was the weakest. And we said, please help me, located him. And within like, I think 6 hours or 8 hours, they had ration in the entire colony.
This is like this energy, like a charter plane, literally.
Yeah.
Went
Cosmic.
there and landed in his...
Cosmic
It's
energy.
inexplicable. It just landed
Cosmic
there,
energy.
and the right person. I mean, how in the world you can find one boatsman who gave you a ride 5 years ago? 5 years ago.
This is when I started writing the last
Writing. Yeah, last year the movie got released. You made it 5 years.
Last year the movie got released. We got it to the eligibility for the Oscars 2020.
Yeah,
and,
of course. It was such a beautiful, heartfelt movie.
It's a heart film. Art film means heart film.
Heart, totally made out of heart, goes directly to the heart and then goes to your
God,
tear
how
ducts.
people reacted in the theater, remember that?
Yeah, bawling.
And I'm also crying. I'm like, it was one of the best screenings. It was really one of the best screenings.
It is one of the best films. I mean, some scenes are there, etched in my memory forever. The color falling on Meena Gupta, you know, and then the little girl and them playing. I'm getting chills even now while even talking.
As you're saying, I'm rethinking. Yeah. Because most of the locations I saw during this time with the boatsmen, and I really want to thank them. And I think that is how the entire thing, because I'd spent so much of time in widow ashrams, and I'd spent so much of time, you know, every time I'll come to India, of course, I understand that, doing television shows and doing all those things are important. But I also want to tell a much bigger story of the country where we come from. I feel that we owe it to the world, not just to India. We owe it to the world. We should be able to tell our story of resilience and beauty, and within the pain and the chaos and the betrayal, there's still such a strong story of India inside.
Would love it if you click on the like and subscribe button below. I bring positive stories from celebrities and philanthropists from around the world, and stay updated with all things Fab on my FabLife 360 Instagram page. Also, if you are looking for something fun and inspiring to listen to, find my podcast FabLife 360 on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.